If you like this video, you can share, subscribe, like, donate by Western Union MoneyGram. Now, I did speak on the WBC and the belt situation concerning Roy Jones Jr., Mike Tyson, but apparently my stream has just been removed from YouTube. So I'm going to just maintain and just give you a summary of that first before I talk about game plans for Alexander Usyk and Derek Chisora. I just watched Usyk. I didn't watch Chisora, but I watched Usyk and just highlights little bits and pieces of his fights. And one of the fights that stand, well, there are two fights that actually stand out to me. One is Michael Hunter versus Usyk, and the other fight that stands out for me is Chaz Witherspoon versus Usyk. Even actually, another fight that stood out for me is Tony Bellew versus Usyk. Those three fights stood out for me. And just looking at that, just looking at little pieces. I don't need to watch the whole entire fight. I just need to know what the style is that I'm dealing with and what the style does well and what the style doesn't do well. Now, with respect to Derek Chisora, I think Derek Chisora is like an inside fighter kind of thing. Let me talk about Alexander Usyk first of all, and then I'll talk about game plan for him. Then I'm going to talk about Derek Chisora and a game plan for him. All right. Now, what's important to understand about Usyk, Lomachenko, Davichenko, Bivol, and Gavordik. All those guys don't really fight off the back foot. They're not really back foot fighters. Now, let me explain something. They're excellent at moving laterally, but most of how they fight and most of how they attack is going forward. That's when they actually throw punches. They throw a lot of punches going forward. Okay? They don't really throw punches when they're on the back foot. Now, Bivol does that a bit. All right? Bivol doesn't just come forward. He's not just a chunk. The other guy that does that is Artur Beterbiev. Artur Beterbiev actually boxes off the back. But if I'm not mistaken, I'm not too sure if Bivol or Beterbiev are Ukraine fighters. Davichenko can do it a little bit as well, and he's also a Ukraine fighter. However, Alexander Usyk can do a lot of really interesting things. He doesn't need lead foot dominance, for example, to land that lead left, because he fights usually from range, that is to say from a distance, long range. He can throw that lead left, even if he doesn't have lead foot dominance. Once the sight is available, he's going to shoot for it. And very polished, very refined fighter, very, very good fighter. Now, what I've noticed about all of these fighters that I just spoke about is that they actually wait for the later rounds to really do their damage. They wait for their opponents to tire out, and they do different strategies and different things. One of them is pressure to force the opponent to go on the back foot. A lot of these European fighters, including Gennady Golovkin, thrive off of the opponent fighting off the back foot. Now, Tony Bellew brought something totally different to the equation, which was counterpunching. And Tony Bellew, when he was dealing with Usyk had a lot of difficulty dealing with Bellew because Bellew, that's what he does. He liked to counterpunch. Bellew was acting kind of like a Canelo. But Bellew started to succumb to the pressure, and of course, Bellew not being a true cruiserweight, he was a heavyweight. He had to come back down to cruiserweight. So it drained him. The pressure, at times, Usyk would land these sharp punches on Bellew. I'm breaking down. Okay, so what's the game plan for Usyk versus Derek Chisora? Distance control. Usyk is going to have to control the range. But how is he going to do that if Derek Chisora is coming in? One of the beautiful ways is just simply sidestepping the guy as he's attacking you. Unless he's winging punches, you sidestep him and then you land your lead left or you land your punches. Because one of the things that Usyk's very good at is countering a guy coming at him. So if a guy's coming at him, he doesn't have to worry about stepping to the outside and all of that. All he has to do is just sidestep him. and he goes to the outside, and then he can do his thing. But Usyk also, while he does go weak side, um, he can also do some other things, which I find very interesting. He keeps his defense very tight. He has a high guard defense, and he keeps it very tight. He protects his entire body, and he counters off of that. So Usyk's not that easy to hit, but straight rights, lead rights will land on Usyk. But he's tough enough, and he keeps a certain range, so the leverage of the punch doesn't land as fully and as hard as some people would expect it to land. So Alexander Usyk, he has sort of a okay. I do need to go to the store. Okay, so I'm just gonna wrap this up real quick. So Alexander Usyk, he has these weapons at his disposal. So one of the things in his game plan will be to be Alexander Usyk pretty much. And with Derek Chisora coming in on him, barreling down, trying to stifle him for space, and try to basically just put his weight down on him, bear down on him, Usyk's going to have different strategies and plans to offset that. Because Derek Chisora, we know he's going to attack. What Derek Chisora is going to do is he's going to attack using the lead right hand. All right, the lead right hand counter. The lead right hand is what he's going to use as his weapon. He's going to be facing a southpaw. And I remember him talking to Tony Bellew. It seems as though he and Tony Bellew had a game plan to face Usyk. The important thing is that Derek Chisora needs to make it rough and rugged for Usyk. He needs to body slam him. He needs to hit him low. He needs to do a lot of unorthodox things and make it a war, make it a rumble. Usyk's a strong guy. Don't get it twisted. Usyk's a strong guy. I just watched at him. He's solid. He's strong, okay? And what I mean by that is he's not the hardest puncher in the world. But when he starts putting leverage into his punches, man, he got oomph in them punches, okay? He's got good pop. He's not the most powerful heavyweight out there. And it doesn't matter. He's a strong heavyweight, though. So what I'm trying to say is he's really built solid. So if Derek Chisora thinks that he's just going to bully Usyk in that ring, just like how Teofimo Lopez can knock out Lomachenko, Derek Chisora is not just going to get in there and use his size and his power to knock out Usyk. Now, the thing about it though is, here's where the fight can get interesting. Usyk generally fights guys from range. He doesn't really fight on the inside. So if Derek Chisora can close the gap, he's got to do it intelligently, probably throwing lead rights or check left hooks, because check left hooks really work on Usyk. He gets caught with them early. But Usyk keeps his composure. He's a very composed fighter, and he likes to thrive off of pressure. So if you're not pushing Usyk back, if Usyk is pushing you back, this is the most comfortable thing. If you're pushing Usyk back, like for example, in a clinch, if Del Boy starts walking Usyk to the ropes, and I remember Buster Douglas did the same thing, Evander Holyfield did the same thing to Tyson. If he can now see, Usyk might pull this on Del Boy, okay? Usyk might pull this on Del Boy faster than Del Boy might pull this on Usyk. But the idea is you put your head into his chest and you lock horns and then you walk him to the ropes. That whoever does that, okay, is going to have an advantage because it's showing your physical strength. So I believe it was Evander Holyfield was talking about it, where he was walking Mike Tyson to the ropes because he learned how to do that, how to bump a guy and walk him back using the shoulder. And the key behind that is technique. So it makes the other guy think, oh man, this guy's physically stronger than I am. When in fact, psychologically it says that, but really and truly, the guy who's stronger is the other guy, but he does not know that because you're walking him to the ropes because you took the leverage and you walk him to the ropes, okay? Somebody said that. I can't remember who it was. Somebody, I think they said they learned it from wrestling or something. But anyway, the point is, that's something that Derek Chisora should do as a game plan. I'm gonna tell you his game plan in a minute. But from what I see of Usyk, he doesn't even need to go backwards. He can just laterally move to the side and then start tagging up Derek Chisora. Because Derek Chisora, he's going to come in off an angle. Yeah, but again, every angle you come in off of can be neutralized another way. And I think Usyk, just by taking a step to the side or pivoting, could nullify Derek Chisora's attack. So, like I said before, it's not really just being relentless with a guy like Usyk is just wasting energy. You're wasting energy. You have to be smart in there. You can't, because Usyk's got conditioning that's just ridiculous. He's well conditioned. Okay, the thing that he beats you on, and the same thing with Floyd Mayweather, same thing with Lomachenko, is their conditioning. They ridiculously well conditioned. So he can scrap with you, and he knows how to conserve his energy. He knows how to do what he needs to do in the ring. So it's not going to be. A lot of people thinking that Usyk's just going to get squashed by Chisora, or Chisora's got a chance against Usyk. Chisora might get burned out trying to get at Usyk. And all the time, Usyk's going to be measured, and he's going to be. And see, Teofimo Lopez understood what Lomachenko was doing. All right? And, but the most effective time with Usyk in the fight is going to be when he's walking back, when he's pushing back Chisora. He's going to push him back. So, Usyk's been this. He's been a much more powerful punches than Derek Chisora, man. He faced Beterbiev and he won in the amateurs. He's faced strong guys, not just big, but strong guys. So he's been down this road before. Derek Chisora is thinking he's going to do something to Usyk that will make him uncomfortable. We'll see. I don't know. But I'm going to give you my pick soon. Now with Derek Chisora, what does he bring to the table? He's a brawler. He can box a bit, so he'll need that boxing, especially if he can catch him with the counter right hand. That's going to help him. It's not going to stun Usyk. Usyk keeps decent range, and he doesn't overcommit. He doesn't overshoot over his shots. He don't reach with his shots, so he's always in balance. So you're not going to just knock him out with a right hand, which is what Derek Chisora thinks he's going to do. In fact, you might get countered. You might get countered with the left, and he also has a nice, beautiful left jab that he gets inside of your right hand, inside of your left hand. You know, but you can catch him with the left hook maybe early in the fight, but later on you're not going to catch him with it because he's going to make an adjustment. Okay. So Derek Chisora, what's his game plan? So first, Alexander Usyk, his game plan is to circle Derek Chisora, catch him with certain shots like body shots, try to catch him with some headshots. The goal, Derek Chisora is going to come out with a fury and really try and bring a high pace, and Derek Chisora's got to slow down the fight in his favor. And to do that, it's just simply footwork. Just not be where he thinks it is and let him come down wrong lines. Okay, and Usyk's pretty good at it, doing that. So that's why Usyk's not really tripping about nothing in this fight. He knows down the stretch he's going to get Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora, if he comes out with a fury and he's trying to do a fury for 12 rounds, he's going to burn out because he's not used to that. Whereas Usyk, he can handle 12 rounds if he got to take up the momentum and really start landing punches on Derek Chisora and finding the gaps and landing punches. He's going to do it. But Derek Chisora needs to do a couple things. First thing, he needs to stay low. So if he practiced in camp, going from low to high, that's going to really help him. If he's coming, even at an angle, but he's coming in, and he's kind of straight up, he's going to get tattooed. Okay. Second thing he needs to do is protect his body and his head. He can't afford to get hit by Usyk. And that sounds weird, but Usyk's very strategic with how he lands his punches and his shots, and he throws his combinations because Usyk is looking to wear you down. That's the goal. Wear you down in later rounds, take you out of there if he can. Dominate in the later rounds. So Derek Chisora, his game plan needs to be stay low, try to get under his punches, counter, because that's what you're going to have to do. And after you counter, that's where you need to expend a lot of energy on the inside. Don't worry about hitting him with clean shots. You catch him in the clinch, rough him up. Now, when you rough up Usyk, Usyk's going to rough you back up. Because once you change the rules of the game, it's all fair play. So Derek Chisora got to understand Usyk is faster than him, 1. 2, Usyk's strong. And 3, Usyk throws combinations, and certain combinations are targeting certain spots. So if Derek Chisora thinks this is some easy game, I'm gonna tell y'all now. I'm breaking it down. Usyk's a clinic. Okay, he's a clinical guy. He ain't doing nothing by chance. Holyfield didn't have to pop Mike Tyson. Beat his ass up, right? So don't get it twisted. Just because a guy ain't no one hitter quitter or he's not a real big puncher, don't mean he can't break down a fighter and get him out of there. All right, Chaz Witherspoon was tired for a reason. It wasn't just the pressure of Usyk when he turned the momentum. He was landing some body shots, some head shots. He was very specific and very accurate with what he was doing. So that's the game plan. He needs to stay low. Once he gets him in a clinch, he needs to rough him up, and he also needs to impose his body weight and his size. He's a lot heavier. Use that weight like Tyson Fury do. And again, if he can pull off what Tony Bellew did early with right counters, catching Usyk with right counters, you know that works in your favor, because anything you can land on him clean, you gotta work with that. Okay. Do I think that Derek Chisora has what it takes to beat an Alexander Usyk? No, but hey, you never know. My take on it might be wrong. I think Usyk's going to come out winning that fight. Do I think it's going to be a rough and tough and rugged fight? It's going to start off that way. It'll start off that way. But by round 7, Usyk going to put the heat on him and get him out of there. Probably within round 9, he probably get him out of there. I'm just looking at what Usyk does and what he does so well and what he's done in the amateurs and what he does in the pros. I don't see him really doing anything different. Of course, he did have a tough fight also with that cruiserweight dude. So he might have a tough fight with Derek Chisora. Who knows? That cruiserweight dude, he actually knew what he was doing in there. So maybe Derek Chisora has that formula. Maybe he can execute a little bit like how Tony Bellew did. And probably a little bit like how, I forgot what the guy's name is, who's right now world champion at cruiserweight, what he did. But I just don't see it because Derek Chisora is more of an inside fighter, first of all. And second of all, I think that he's a lot more rough and rugged, you know, not as refined. You need a certain refinement to beat Usyk, in my opinion. I may be wrong. But just looking at Usyk, this is what I see. I think he's going to win the fight. Do I think it's going to be a tough fight? Probably for first three rounds. It'll be rough and rugged, you know. But after that, I don't think so. I think that Usyk's going to be in control, and then he's going to be backing up Derek Chisora. And Derek's new to the conditioning game, man. He new to the conditioning game. Chisora is a well-conditioned athlete, period. So, and he got good defense. So, I really don't see. I see him beating Derek Chisora. I see him stopping Derek Chisora. And then a lot of y'all gonna rave about it, but it's just that Derek Chisora don't have the goods to deal with the Usyk. You know, he gonna make a statement with this fight, and he's gonna get Derek Chisora out of there probably by the 9th round. All right, so that's the breakdown. Alexander Usyk got all the tools I saw to deal with a Derek Chisora. And Michael Hunter is a totally different story. Michael Hunter throws punches from all kinds of angles, moves around quite a lot. He goes the orthodox way with it. When you're dealing with the southpaw, he goes clockwise, which is to Usyk's right hand, just on the outside of his jab. And he was doing a great job until Usyk forced him to go the other way because he was expending a lot of energy as well with a high punch output. See, if you're going to deal with Usyk, right, you better either be super duper fit or you got to conserve your energy. You got to conserve your energy, and you got to play a little bit of chess, a little bit of rough and rugged game. You know, you got to have a good jab, and you got to have a good right hand. And, if you're sharp and you're quick like Teofimo Lopez was, you give him a lot more trouble. And then you want to get him on the back foot. You want to make him go backwards. And I haven't seen anybody really push Usyk back. You got to push him back. You can't just go around him boxing him. You got to push him back. And you got to put a heat on him and push him back. He's going to fight you back. But what you got to do, depending on how you're circling him, is then you got to put some more heat on him. And so the only thing I see where it could work out for Chisora is if he pushes him back physically. That is, once they get in a clinch, he walks him to the ropes. And make sure you keep your back off the ropes. You must always be in the center of the ring, or you're pushing him to the ropes. So this is the thing with Usyk. Usyk's weakness is that, but he can sidestep you. So what you got to do is you got to swing with a hook to keep him from sidestepping you, hook him back into place. You know, I don't think Chisora could do. I'm telling you, I don't know if he has it in him to be able to beat. He's a good boxer too, but I don't think he has it in him to beat Alexander Usyk. He might prove me wrong, and he might actually do the things that I just said. You need to Usyk, but he needs to stay low. He can't come in walking in on him. Like, nah. Or he better keep his D tight. Okay, he's got to keep his defense tight. You know, and if he's going to try and brawl and bang him and make it really rough and rugged, he's going to have the footwork for that. You know what I mean? You know, so you can bully him to the ropes. You got to really rough him up and soften him up if you can. Usyk is solid, like I said before. You're not just going to rough him up just like that. He's solid. I seen him take some hard shots, and you know, he's solid. He's really well built. So it's not going to be that easy. It's not going to be that easy. All right. So we'll see. I haven't looked at the reach of the opponents. None of that shit. I'm just telling you the game plan. Stay low, rough and rugged, rough him up. You know, throw punches to the body. Since it's going to be high throughput, you want to fight. Make him fight at a pace where he has to slow you down. You can't afford to tire for 12 rounds. You just can't if you're going to go at a high pace. But if you're not going to go at a high pace, and you're going to pace yourself a bit, which is the smarter thing to do, really, honestly, pace yourself and take up the pace as the fight is going along, because he's going to be counting on you to tire out. So Del Boy playing right into Usyk's hand is like, he's so predictable. It's like, so you're going to try and blaze it from the opening bell. He's going to burn out. That might knock his ass out. That's all Usyk's gonna do. He's like, oh, okay, that's your game plan. All right, Ninja. Because he got good defense, so we'll see how it goes. All right, so my pick, I might as well just tell you my pick right now. Usyk by stoppage. I'd say around about 9th, 10th round. If I'm wrong, well, I'm wrong. Del Boy will have to prove me wrong on that. But I think Usyk's gonna stop Chisora in the 9th or the 10th round. Okay. And that's what I got. I'm what you need. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. You guys have a good one. Peace.